This case proves that monsters don't just live in the shadows, they live next door. They are quiet, employed, and they might even have a faint, foreign accent. For years, Brian Stephen Smith, a naturalized American citizen originally from South Africa, lived a double life in Anchorage, Alaska. But in the autumn of 2019, his meticulously documented horror show was exposed not by the FBI, but by a homeless woman who stole the wrong phone.
Before we go deeper, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, as it's the only way you can encourage us on keeping you updated with things happening in the United Kingdom.
Valerie Casler, homeless and looking for cash, stole a cell phone. She was shocked to find not money or music, but a series of images and videos, the torture and murder of a Native Alaskan woman. The killer's voice was the ultimate clue, a distinct South African accent spoken by a man who bragged about his depravity. The aftermath. 2 years after the murder, the fallout continued. On this specific date, Brian Smith's wife, Stephanie, would still be grappling with the unbelievable truth, asking herself, how could I have missed it? How can you miss something that dark? Her husband's life was a lie, a betrayal that echoes across continents. Smith, 48, grew up in Queenstown, South Africa, served in the military, and immigrated to the US. Outwardly, he was a quiet maintenance worker, an outdoorsman. Inwardly, he was the beast. He had 2 confidants, his mistress, Alicia Youngblood, and his drinking buddy, Ian Calhoun. Neither realized the stories he was sharing were not fantasy, but a meticulous record of his crimes. Brian Smith's wife, Stephanie, claimed there were 2 sides to him. Do you believe that people who commit extreme violence always show visible signs beforehand? Let us know in the comment section. Valerie Casler transferred the chilling videos onto an SD card labeled homicide. She immediately lied to police, claiming she found the card on the sidewalk, fearing charges for theft or solicitation. The files contained 39 images and 12 videos showing the torture and murder of a woman over 2 days in September 2019. The killer's voice, the pattern of the hotel carpet, and an image of the killer's shoes, all pointed to one man. Days after the card was handed over, the remains of a Native Alaskan woman were found on the Seward Highway. She was identified via dental records, Kathleen Jo Henry, 30, from the Yupik village of Eek. She struggled with homelessness but was remembered for her poetry and loving family. Kathleen was the woman in the videos, murdered in room 323 of the Town Place Suites by Marriott. Hotel records confirmed Smith, the maintenance worker at the hotel, had checked into that exact room for 2 nights. The South African accent, the shoes, the location, Brian Stephen Smith was the killer. His psychological need to document his crime was his own undoing. In the video, Smith is heard narrating his cruelty, saying, "You must want to get murdered tonight because you're not leaving this hotel because I'm going to murder you." This wasn't a crime of passion, it was a carefully filmed execution meant for an audience. During his eventual interview, Smith confessed to a second murder from 2017 or 2018. He picked up an intoxicated woman, grew angry when she refused to shower because she's made his house stink, and shot her in the head with one of his many firearms in his basement. Smith recognized the photo, Veronica 53, who also struggled with homelessness. Her loving family had desperately searched for her since 2018. A search warrant on Smith's home revealed the truth beneath the surface. Police focused on a small red sofa in the basement. Smith's wife believed the stain was red wine. When detectives pulled up the carpet, they found bloodstains beneath. On one of Smith's many electronic devices, he prided himself on repairing and reselling old phones. Police found images and video of Veronica's murder. Smith had undressed and posed over her dead body on the sofa. Smith confessed to driving Veronica's body out in a garbage bag and leaving her near the tree line, a spot he admitted to driving past occasionally to check if she'd been discovered. Veronica was found by berry pickers in 2019, waiting nearly a year to be identified. Smith's mistress, Alicia Youngblood, met him at his previous engineering job. Their fantasy bond quickly turned dark. A full year before Valerie's discovery, Smith sent Alicia the video of Kathleen's murder. Alicia was terrified and, critically, she went to the police. She worked with them for months, sharing correspondence and images. Despite Alicia's warning, police determined there was not enough evidence to proceed. This failure allowed Smith to continue his activities for another year, leading to the murder of Veronica. The accomplice? Smith had another friend, Ian Calhoun, his drinking buddy. Text messages revealed Smith boasting during Kathleen's torture. Cell phone tracking placed Ian and Smith together in Forsyth Park, a local playground, for 10 minutes, with Kathleen's dead body in the back of Smith's truck. Ian eventually admitted meeting Smith, but claimed he thought the body wrapped in a sheet was a sex doll. When confronted with a news article about Kathleen's body, Ian texted Smith, "Oops." He hoped snow would have covered it. Ian admitted deleting text messages and refused to call the police, saying he was afraid Smith would come after his family. This inaction sparked organized public protests calling for Ian's arrest for failing to report a murder. The APD, however, maintained that probable cause for charges did not exist. For years after the arrest, the trial commenced. The defense, facing overwhelming evidence, attacked the chain of custody of the SD card, citing Valerie Casler's initial lies. Valerie testified that she lied to protect herself, a desperate act that almost cost the prosecution their key evidence. The evidence presented to the jury, the videos, the photos, the chilling audio, was so traumatic that jurors testified about watching the most horrible thing that we will ever see in our entire life and going back to the jury room to cry. Brian Stephen Smith was convicted on every count, 2 counts of first-degree murder, sexual assault, tampering with evidence, and misconduct involving a corpse. The horror didn't end. Police found photos of an unidentified woman with a distinctive butterfly tattoo on Smith's phone. Her family identified her as Cassandra Buskowski, 38, missing since 2019. Smith claimed she was alive when he left her, but the family successfully had her legally declared dead. While police strongly believe she is the 3rd victim, charges have not been filed. Even after conviction, Smith maintained his innocence, claiming he was framed by the APD or FBI. His story to detectives, initially about 6 murders in South Africa, escalated to American victims. He dismissed his boasts as fantasy stories that only became real because the police took them to the media. The narcissism and refusal to take responsibility remained absolute. On July 12, 2024, Superior Court Judge Kevin Saxby sentenced Brian Stephen Smith to 226 years in prison for the murders of Kathleen Henry and Veronica Abachuk. Justice was served, but the questions linger, about Ian Calhoun, about Cassandra Buskowski, and about the intelligence failures that allowed a self-proclaimed serial killer to continue his activities. The story of Brian Stephen Smith, the South African immigrant who became a U.S. serial killer, is a harsh reminder that the beast recognizes no borders. His ability to live a double life, confess his crimes to confidants, and film his victims highlights a universal failure of society to recognize the darkness in its midst. You spent 9 minutes with us, watching the documented horror of Brian Stephen Smith, the pain of the victims' families, and the shocking betrayal by his friend. You committed to this difficult, necessary truth because you believe that accountability, especially for those who prey on the vulnerable, is paramount. But if you're not subscribed, you are missing the final, most crucial step. If you genuinely believe that the failures that led to these crimes, the missed police warnings, the friend silence, must be continuously exposed, you must hit that subscribe button now. Don't just witness the true crime, support the tireless work that brings these monsters to justice. Subscribe now to ensure we can continue to bring you these unedited, in-depth accounts. Subscribe and make your commitment to the memory of Kathleen Henry and Veronica Abachuk.